Tuesday night saw a fantastic result for Altrincham as we went down to the runaway league leaders, Torquay United. A 6-hour trip to Plainmoor to take on the team that's top of the pile, and we came back with a 2-1 victory. Manager Phil Parkinson joins us. Phil, first of all, it must have been one hell of a day.
It was one of the longest days that I can remember in football for a long time, Brian. I mean, the time it took us to get up there, we probably over-egged it. We flew up very little traffic, made really good time, but it was still, 5 hours on a bus, close to 6. And yeah, it's a very, very difficult one to sort of deal with, and logistically difficult with players' work and things like that. But everyone made every effort they could possible, and we went down there as strong as possible.
We started the game very well, and a terrific effort from Dan Mooney early on, which has hit the bar with McDonald, the goalkeeper, just a spectator.
Yeah, I mean, Dan carried on from where he left off, didn't he? I mean, we had to make a tough decision that night. You're looking at, obviously, Ryan Colclough and Yusuf Cisse sitting on the bench, two wingers who you would probably expect to start. But with the way Dan, Cozzy and Hanks played the last game, it made it very difficult to start them. And Dan repaid that faith with an absolutely scintillating start and should have opened the scoring. Really good effort.
And then we've gone behind in the 21st minute. There was a bit of shenanigans as the free kick was awarded, and I think Conor Hampson was booked. What was all that about?
I'm not sure, actually. There was a few really strange decisions that night, and I was told by the officials to take a seat, so I couldn't really tell you what was going on there. So I'm not sure, to be honest.
Long diagonal free kick is we've not dealt with it particularly well, but it was a very scruffy goal.
It was really disappointing. I mean, Tomo's adamant that he had it in his hands, and then obviously whether he spilled it or whatever's happened, if it's been knocked out of his hands and the play's been allowed to continue and it went in. I mean, for me, it was against the run of play, which was really disappointing. And it felt like everything was against us at that point, to be honest. As I said, the officials felt like, and you have them games, you feel like they're against you and it might be just all in your mind, but it did feel that way from start to finish. The weather conditions were very adverse, really difficult to play in. As you said right at the start of the interview, the travel was ridiculous. And when that goal goes in and you're playing quite well, you just think maybe it's not going to be your night. But we, as we always do, we kept plugging away and we turned it round.
And it was shortly after the goal we lost Dan Mooney and Ryan Colclough came on. So we had to adjust, and it was a little difficult period for us. But we carried on playing our football, and it was a terrific move and run, but a surging run by Josh Hancock that's won the penalty. And he's been absolutely done over in the box.
Yeah, he's finding his form now, isn't he? And I think that's something that we're getting rewarded for now. Obviously, start of the season, one of the reasons we weren't winning games is because our forwards weren't looking a goal threat. And Josh Hancock's a big part of that. And then you look at all the players in and around them forward positions, they all look a real threat and they all look dangerous now. And it's down to the patience, the perseverance, because it was a rebuild in them positions, and the coaching that we've done on the pitch that's got us, or got these players to where they need to be, and the fiery now. And I think we're seeing the rewards in that, in the Josh Hancocks of this world's performances, because there's a little saying that we used to use last year: when Josh plays well, we play well. And you could see that last night. He was driving his forward and he got us that penalty, and he created the second goal as well with a pass to Ryan. And I think the forwards are really showing everybody what mine and Neil's teams are all about in terms of the way they can be a constant threat all the way through games now.
7 goals for Josh now, and 3 penalties. He's got a 100% record from the 12-yard mark, and he really stroked it home very, very confidently.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I always struggle to watch Josh's penalties because I've known him so long and from a young age. And one thing that his dad said to me, and I think I've been on record saying to it when we were playing Chorley and he took the penalty, his dad said, "Oh, he never scores penalties." So ever since then, I've always found it difficult to watch. But very rarely lets us down from that range, does he, Josh? So, like I said, when he's in the form he is, there's no doubt he's going to score that.
And from that moment, we had a real purple patch up until half time. We got what turned out to be the winning goal, but we also could have scored further goals. But the second goal was a peach of a goal, and typifies what we're all about in terms of starting on the right hand side with Matty Costello into Josh Hancock, and he had 3 or 4 players around him, but he was aware. He's picked out Ryan Colclough, a simple ball, but very, very effective, and the finish was completely out of the top drawer.
Well, as I said earlier, now our forwards are firing and looking a threat. We've adapted to the level, and you're seeing that with the likes of Ryan Colclough, the way he stepped inside. I didn't think that fullback was going to come out after half time because all the wingers really give him a tough time. So, and that guy's been a top professional in his time as well. So to do what they did and to give him the troubles that they did just shows where our forwards are at currently. And like you said, what a great finish. But you expect that of Ryan Colclough, don't you? I mean, he's a very good player. And when he lines a person up like that, unless you're a top defender or he's not quite at it, he's always going to hit the target or cause problems. So we saw it earlier with Dan Mooney, exactly the same scenario. We got them types of players who can create their own chances. But you've got to remember, as you alluded to, the build-up play and the interplay, the link-up play, the combinations that the lads are putting together now. That's not just luck, that's been patience, perseverance. As I said, it's been a rebuild of that front line, and they're finally showing what they're all about, and hopefully they can continue to do that. And if they can, you'll see more goals like that from people like Ryan.
We could have scored a third goal before half time, and we really finished on top. The first half was a great game, I thought, and we were superb. The second half was very, very different, but I'm sure you're just as pleased with the performance and the way we managed the game.
Yeah, I mean, me and Neil were delighted at half time. Had very little to say, to be honest, because they played so well. Disappointed to concede the goal we did. And to come in at half time, we felt that we could have gone on, but obviously you're playing top of the league. They're there for a reason. They're always going to come and have a go at you. I mean, they rotate a lot. They don't really have a settled team from what I've seen. So there's been a lot of changes. They've got a lot of strength and depth, so they were able to bring on fresh legs. But the thing is, so were we able to do that now? So it's like we cancelled each other out, and the weather conditions did get worse. It wasn't conducive to playing football. It was really difficult. It might have not showed up on the stream, but the swirling wind made it very, very difficult. And we didn't really get our flow going. But what I would say is in a second half that we didn't dominate, and neither did they. We had the best chance with Matty Costello, where he's gone through, and I don't know how the keepers managed to sort of get that over the bar. But we again looked the stronger team in the second half with regards who were actually going to score a goal, not just huff and puff. So we looked a little bit more convincing, and that's what I was most pleased with, the fact that we could go all the way to Torquay. We were top of the league, like you said, a bit of a runaway leader. And we played all them teams in and around us at the moment. You look at Sutton, Stockport, those types of teams, Hartlepool, and no one's really been miles away from us. So we've shown we can compete in this league. And as I said, and I hope I've made it very clear in this interview, the patience that we've been able to show with our front line and the work we've put in with them is now paying dividends. And we're showing when we go to these places, we're not just turning up there to make up the numbers. We're not going there expecting to get beat because we've had a tough journey. We're going there giving everything. And I think you can see how tired I look today. I've been up teaching at 9 o'clock. We're going there giving everything, and we're going expecting to get something. So I think we're seeing that belief flooding through the players when they're on the pitch now. I mean, it's a pleasure to watch at times.
You mentioned the fantastic save from Matty Costello late on. Early in the second half, there was a quite sensational effort from Alistair Smith. He's taken a short free kick from Jake Moult just outside the centre circle, and a magnificent effort that if that had gone in, well, I think that probably would have even beaten Connors at Sutton.
Yeah, we said that after the game. I had a little joke with Alistair, and I said he's trying to take his goal of the season off him already because it was so close. I mean, the keeper's getting nowhere near that. He's hit it so sweetly. And Alistair's been a bit of a driving force in that midfield, and I think he could chip in with more of those types of goals. He's certainly got that in his repertoire. So, as I said, with our front lads, the midfield, have always been capable of scoring goals, and Alistair will certainly bring that to us. So yeah, it was very unlucky on his part, and it would have really topped off a great evening if he was able to finish that off.
The game's finished on a controversial note, or towards the end of the game, with the second yellow card for Jake Maltz. He clashed with Carl Cameron, the Torquay captain, and that was really disappointing because nobody really seemed to see much happening there.
No, well, it sort of epitomised the man in the middle's performance. And again, we can't criticise too much because they do have a very tough job to do, but they don't make their lives any easier when they do things like that. So I think both players were amazed that they even got booked. It was just a little bit of coming together in terms of walking into each other. I think Jake was trying to get out of the lad's way, and anybody who's ever watched Jake play or has ever been around Jake will know he's not an aggressor in that way. I would like him to be more aggressive, if anything. So really tough one to take. And Jake will be devastated with that. I mean, he's one of them players, and all players never want to miss games, but he's an absolute nightmare when he misses a game. So he'd be absolutely distraught with that. But with it being 2 yellows, there's nothing we can do about it. So
that will be a one-match ban. He'll miss the game against Wrexham.
Yeah, it looks that way. So unfortunately, a big game that Jake would have really revelled in playing in, he'll miss out because of a poor decision. So there's nothing we can do. Hopefully there's someone there watching and might give the official in the middle some advice for next time he's in them positions, or dealing with a game of that magnitude where two teams are really going through it. I felt he struggled with it last night, and it's disappointing. But like I said, there'll be times when we struggle with things. That's his job. Maybe he had a bad night. It felt that way from my perspective. But listen, everyone has a tough job to do at this level. It's not easy.
So we're back up to fourth in the league, and even on points per game, we're just outside the playoffs. So we are serious contenders for the playoffs.
Yeah, but like I've said to you all the way through, Brian, at the start where we were playing, I felt we were playing well. We just didn't look a goal threat. People were probably calling us relegation fodder, including our own fans turning on us at times, which is disappointing. But then people can see with patience and understanding that our methods do work and the players buy into it wholeheartedly, and everybody's doing the right things, pulling in the same direction, that we'll get to where we want to be. But we know how hard this league is. So as I've said all the way through, I'm certainly not going to be changing my message. I'm as excited as everybody else. I want to see where the season can take us. But until we reach that 50-point marker, which is what I set the players at the start of the year, that's where we'll start looking forward at playoffs and where the season can actually take us, because you're always a couple of injuries away from not being able to compete. As good as our squad is, you're always a little dip in form away from playing a team who are banging form. And it can go the wrong way for you. So we're certainly not going to get carried away. We're going to enjoy these moments. And it did feel good. I'm not going to hide that I was absolutely bouncing last night. I felt brilliant for the lads, all the efforts of everyone associated with the football club. I know how tough it is at the moment. We're all in this lockdown scenario, and we all look to the football results, and nights like last night absolutely make it for us, because we're not expected to go there and win. But inside our little Altrincham bubble, I think everyone knew we had half a chance, and nobody was dreaming that we couldn't. So it was the fact that we went there, we executed what we're capable of, the belief that we've got in the players, the belief that the players have got in us, the belief that the fans have in us as a majority, just spurs us on. And as I've said, ever since I've been here, as long as that stays how it is, and who knows where we can go with it. But let's not get carried away. Let's not get overexcited. Let's not plough more pressure on us than needs to be. We've done really well. We'll continue to do that. We'll work really hard. And if work rate, attention to detail, application, attitude's got anything to do with it, hey, listen, we could have another great season, but we've already had 3. Let's not be greedy, but let's hope we do have another great season.
I've watched a couple of interviews with managers whose teams played last night. One of whom was Gary Johnson, full-time teams, and they don't want to see their players now until Friday, and they're playing on Saturday, which is interesting. Will we have any sort of change to our training regime over the next few days?
Yeah, I did listen to Gary's interview. I'll be honest, I was a little bit disappointed with him saying some of the things he did about was time wasting, etc. We certainly didn't. We went there and we played really well and we deserved to win. We never time waste. So I'm not quite sure what he was alluding to there, but yeah, it must be lovely for his players to have a little walk on the front and contemplate what they're doing. Our lads will be in work today, as I was at 9 o'clock, getting in at 4 in the morning. So I've literally got a moment now to speak to you, but then I'll be in my classes again. So we'll reflect on what we've got to do for our next game. We've got lads on scaffolding sites today and all sorts of things going on. So we don't have them luxuries, but we'll be training Saturday. So we'll give the lads Thursday off, because after a big trip like that, they need to recharge the batteries. We would normally be in Thursday, but again, I'm absolutely wiped out. So, and I haven't played 90 minutes in my mind. I will have done, but physically, just that bus journey, I felt physically exhausted this morning. So I think the lads need that night off. And the only reason we would do that is because we haven't got a game Saturday. So we'll train Saturday. Myself and Neil will make sure we do our due diligence on Wrexham the Saturday afternoon. And we'll go into that game fully prepared and recharged, ready to go against another mammoth task for us.